fall in love with the data, if that makes sense. You know,
I
like
mean,
as being the signpost for where you're really at. And if you understand what your goals are, then that allows you to begin to reverse engineer how to get there. So let me give you an example. So, because you asked me, this was part of a question that you asked,
yeah,
right? Was it something along the lines of, they're not seeing they're doing what they've always been doing. The system works, but the system doesn't produce any more than it's already been producing. So how do you address that? And the key is to first set the bar. Set the bar with where you're at and be okay with it. Do not judge it. Do not wish if I was only doing 24 deals, or at least I'm not doing 6 deals. Just be mentally like okay with wherever you're at. Then decide where that bar needs to be for you just to reach your goals. Now, you want to have some emotion around that. It might be need. You might be trying to make a mortgage payment. You might be trying to make a car payment. You might be trying to send your kid to college. You might just be trying to get to a vacation. Whatever it is, it has to be important to you. And you're setting the bar that when I achieve that. But if you just think that putting your head down and just grinding through is going to get you there, you're going to burn out before that, because you've already demonstrated, if you're plateauing at 6 to 12 transactions a year, that you don't have the systems in place. How do you know what systems to put into place? Well, you can do it my way, which actually I would not suggest, because I've been doing this 18 years. Trial and error. Like, just throw shit at it, fail, and fail up. That was, at the time, that was the Silicon Valley way of doing it. In hindsight, the way I do it now is understand how many conversations on average I need to have a transaction, and then try to figure out how can I become more efficient in that. Now, you can increase the number of conversations you have. That might be hard for you given you're already busy. So what's the next? It's like you reverse engineer this. So what if I have the same number of conversations, but I'm more successful with those conversations? That would require maybe being more tactical, right, not being rude, but having clear understanding of the time spent versus the value provided and gained. I think that gets lost on a lot of people, because because in this industry, we do like to talk. We do like that external validation, but what's your goal? Right. So the measuring and not over measuring. You don't need, oh my God, we're like squirrels. Like somebody just heard, oh, JD's saying I should go get Sisu, not to name drop anybody. I'm not saying good, bad. I'm just saying, like, some crazy dashboard. I'm going to have Claude build me this, build me that. And that goes back to the first yellow flag that I mentioned, where the busy work does not replace the job of helping. Your job is 2 things, right? If you're doing business, you can relate. Your job is 2 things: setting appointments, writing contracts. Setting appointments, writing contracts. Everything you do is designed to get you to those 2 things. Anything that takes you away from that is a distraction, unless you are extremely strategic. But then in order to make sure that it's working or worthwhile, you need to measure it over time to be able to understand what, if any, effect is it having on your ROI, your return on investment.
I hear 2 things there.
Go.
Okay, 2 things that I hear. Number 1, there's 3 things you should track: lead flow, appointment flow, client flow. That's it.
Yep.
Right? Lead flow meaning these are all the people that came in. These are all the people I'm talking to. Appointment flow is people that I've met with, and are in some phase of the decision process. And then how do I manage my client flow? A client is only a client once an agreement is signed. Okay.
Correct.
You would never and we've talked about this. You and I have known each other over a decade. Like we've talked about this extensively, right? Like nobody opens a dentist doesn't open a practice, and spend the $3 million it takes to get all the people, all the chairs, all the equipment, the x-ray, and all of that. And then on day 1, walk out their front door and say, well, I hope my brother needs his teeth cleaned today. And they just stand there, like the ads turn on right away. The system's already in place. The billing's already in place. Like, and there is an element of build before you go before you build type of, leverage that you need to pull. But at the end of the day, I think a lot of people, they hear this advice and if I'm hearing you correctly, there is an element of prepare to work or work to prepare, the whole dichotomy that exists there. But at the end of the day, what we're really looking for, this is Tony Robbins 101. You are nothing
Yeah.
more than a result of the patterns that guide you, right? And so, like, if your patterns are constantly like, I'm not going to look at the business, I'm just going to go with no reason to go. Eventually, I don't even know that you're going to make it a week. Like you're going to do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You're like, okay, this isn't working. I need to do something different, right? To go back to your Sisu or Claude example, as long as you're using some level of a CRM that has an open API, that's a good thing. There's only two that I would recommend. I like, and really, there's only one that I would recommend, but two, if because we need choices, right? Follow Up Boss and HubSpot would be the only two CRMs I would look at. And the only reason why
Yep.
I would say Follow Up or HubSpot is because they both have open APIs, which means you
Hmm.
can tell Claude to do whatever you want, and Claude will be able to go do it, right? If you want to build a dashboard within your own system, or if you want to put it on Google Sheets or whatever, you'd be able to do it. And the other reason is relatively quickly out of the box without really any changes whatsoever. You can dashboard the exact three things, lead flow, appointment flow, and client flow. You can dashboard that right out of the get-go. So the first pattern that I'm trying to figure out right now is how many activities do I need to do before I set an appointment? Period.
Yep.
Calls,
That's
emails,
right.
text messages, in-person door knocking, open houses, whatever. How many activities do I need to do before somebody, just because of the law of averages, says yes?
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
JD, you can go to a mall, stand at the opening, and this would be awkward. I wouldn't recommend doing this, but you could stand at the entrance of a mall and say, "My name's Steve. I'm a real estate agent. Are you thinking about buying a home in the next 3 months?" You could ask every single person that walked into the mall. And yes, it would be awkward, not because it's an awkward question, because the modality of when and where that question is being asked is out of character. But if you ask that question enough times at the mall, within one day, you would walk away with one client, guaranteed. If you asked
Hmm.
every single person, I don't know how many people go to a mall now, but let's say it's like 2,000 people a day, 100%. Eventually, somebody would say, "Holy crap. Like, I was just thinking about real estate this morning, and you're here at the mall. Like, this is like serendipity. I can't believe that." Like, if you ask enough people that question, you will get a client. So at the end of the day,
Right.
it's not the magic ad, it's not the magic Instagram video, it's not the webinar, it's not the open house. It's everything combined every single day of how many times you're willing to say, "I'm a real estate agent. Do you need help?" In so many different ways, right?
Hmm.
So, like, if you had to, we didn't talk about this, and I don't even know that I know the number. I'll take a guess at what I think a blended number is. But if you consider an SMS, a phone call, an email, a conversation, maybe at an open house, or maybe you're stopping by, somebody else's house that or maybe it's related to a showing you had today. How many like daily activities, regardless of success or response, what would you say like a daily activity number that if you did it every single day, there's like no way you can't do multiple transactions a month? What do you think that number would be?
I mean, at the very least,